Hello. Hello. How is everyone? Hello. Hey. Today I am going to be talking about how to get buy in from others when you want to tidy the house, when you want to get organized, get clean, get decluttered, whatever, and the people in your house are just not fully on board, shall we say. um, that's what we're going to be talking about. I will take your questions at the end as usual. I'm going to try and keep this reasonably brief, but I'm going to go in through some strategies that have really worked for me. And then, like I said, I will take your questions. The rest of these strategies, so this is kind of like a teaser, I guess, of my new course, which launches next week. Ooh, excited. There is an entire section in the course dedicated to getting others on board, getting buy-in from others, not just for adults in your home, but also from your kids, how to get your kids involved. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So yeah, how do you get others on board? How do you get them? You're probably not going to, fully convince them to declutter and deep clean the entire house. But how can you get a little bit more help from them? The very first thing that you need to do is to be very clear about what you want and what the benefits will be. And not, I've mentioned this before, not the benefits kind of for you or for the home, but what the benefits will be for them. That's important because there are some things that work for us that are big motivators for us. They are not big motivators for other people. So you need to explain it in a way that they will understand. That is the first thing, like explain what you want to do, explain kind of like what your vision is, be very specific. Don't make it overwhelming. Don't say like, I want to transform this house from top to bottom. I want to like completely deep clean the entire house. So try and keep it small, manageable. Don't like shock them with anything. Be very specific. And then, like I said, you want to outline the benefits as they apply to them. So from there, once you've explained what you want to do, how it's going to benefit them, how it's going to make you feel better. Michelle says she lives alone, so she's her own worst enemy. Listen, pros and cons to everything. One of the ways that I have found very helpful for getting buy-in from my husband is it's the way I phrase it. Okay, if you just say, "Can you do something?" or like, "It's your turn to do XYZ," sometimes that can make the other person like feel a little bit resentful, or they can feel this kind of like pullback. It's just not a nice feeling to be told kind of what to do. I think we all have that innate, like nobody tells me what to do, or we all have that resistance to being told what to do, particularly if we feel like we're true. But that from their perspective, it may feel like they are getting the short end of the straw. So the way that I have found very helpful in terms of phrasing is something like, it's like phrasing it as an exchange. Can you do X while I do Y? That's really helpful. Or can you do X so that I can do Y? Let me give you some examples. Can you bring out the bins while I mop the floors? Can you wipe down the table while I put the dishes in the dishwasher? So that makes it feel a lot more equal. It feels like you're both in this together. It feels like a partnership. It feels like you are helping each other. It's a mutual exchange. Or they kind of, can you do X so that I can do Y? Can you clear out all of the gone off things in the fridge so that I can fill it with new stuff? Text them maybe on the way home from the grocery store. I've bought new stuff. Can you do a quick clear out of the fridge so that I can put all of this fresh stuff away? That's really helpful because, again, it feels like an exchange. It feels like you have done something and they have done something. Like you have both contributed to something. That's really helpful. Trust me, I've utilized this one a lot. And it doesn't just feel like, can you do something? Because sometimes what the other person hears is, I have to do all the work while you go off and do something else. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you're going or whatever. All I know is that I have been lumbered with work. So that is really helpful, that exchange. Can you do X while I do Y? Or can you do X so that I can do Y? Can you move these boxes that are in front of the closet so that I can go through and clear out the closet? Phrasing it in that particular way. Ellie, you don't share the list or the work as a list, like one cooks, the other cleans. Yes, I'm coming to that. The next way then of phrasing it is as a favor, but kind of not just like, can you do this as a favor to me? But to phrase it in such a way that it just sounds helpful. It just sounds like the decent thing to do. So, for example, let's go back to our shopping example. Can you help me carry these really heavy bags? I'm struggling to carry these bags. Could you give me a hand and just carry one or two of them into the house? I've tried to move this piece of furniture and I just can't do it alone. Is there any chance you have like a minute that you could just help me slide it over into the corner? Things that just make it sound like such a reasonable request rather than, can you come and like help me lift a whole bunch of furniture? If you think about it from the other person's perspective, like if somebody said, can you help me move a bunch of furniture? I'd be like, But if somebody has said like, I've really tried to do this, I'm really struggling. I thought I could do it on my own and I just can't. Is there any chance you have a few seconds that you could just help me slide this or just carry this one bag that I'm really struggling with? Like that is a very reasonable request that I think very few people would unless they had a very good reason, very few people would turn around and say no to that request. So phrasing it in a way that they are helping you, that they are just kind of like, it's just a decent, easy thing to do. And I would say, following on from that, then let them go thereafter. Be very specific with what you would like them to do, and then let them go. If somebody says to you, can you help me? Or certainly for me, my initial reaction is, with what? How long is this going to take? Like, what kind of commitment is involved here? Whereas if you are very specific Bonnie says she was looking for me on YouTube. I think live streaming on YouTube, it says that I'm live streaming, but I'm not, like, nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So I don't know what has happened with YouTube, but we're doing it here. Here on Instagram. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't know why it's not working on YouTube. It says that I'm live, and it's counting the minutes and the seconds and whatever. But there's nothing, like, there's nobody here. There's no comments coming through. Disappointing, but we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on. So yeah, being very specific about, this is exactly what I need. This is how long it's going to take. And then afterwards you are free to go. Don't kind of lure them in with, can you help me move this thing? And then while you're here, that is a surefire way to, like, in future, ensure that they do not want to help out because they just helped you with that one thing and all of a sudden they got roped into something for the whole day. So getting that exchange, can you do X while I do Y? Or, I'm really struggling with this one thing. Is there any chance you could just help me out for a minute or 5 minutes or whatever to do this very specific task that I, really cannot do alone? And also being very specific about what you need from them and then setting them free. That is helpful. I know that I hated those times when I was asked to do something and then it was like, while you're here, could you also just grab me that thing? And could you help me move this other thing? It's not pleasant. Like, if you think about it from the other perspective, it's not about kind of I don't know, how would you say it? It's not about trying to trick anyone into doing something. It's really not about trying to I don't know. I can't think of the phrasing right now, but it's not about tricking someone into doing something or trying to like manipulate them. That's what I'm going for. It's not about that. It's just about using the phrasing that is going to help and the strategies that are going to ensure that you will get buy-in in future. If you think about it from their perspective, like how are the ways that you prefer to be asked to help out to do something? What are the ways that are going to ensure that you either do not want to help them, or if you do help them, you're not going to want to do it again? Um, so, another thing, then, and this is from a question that I got, somebody lived with housemates. They had divided up their chores, they had done their lists, but the other people in the home were not sticking to their chores. They just weren't doing them. And the very specific example that was given was that um, the one person in the home was responsible for bringing out the bins. So the bins were collected on a particular morning. They were supposed to be left out the night before. And the person who left the comment said that she always found herself in a situation where she would wake up the next morning, she would hear the truck coming, and she would have to leap out of bed and go and bring the bins out. That is obviously an incredibly frustrating experience. I think we've all probably experienced something like that, where somebody has maybe taken advantage or not done what they were supposed to do. Like, no matter how much you divvy up the chores, there is always the potential that somebody is not going to pull their weight. So, in that situation, what I suggested was that you give them some form of incentive. And this kind of comes back to what you were talking about, Ellie, where you say, okay, the person who cleans does not have to cook tonight. The person who cleans the bathroom does not have to do whatever. So giving it, making it, incentivizing it, making it a little bit more like, if you do this chore, you will not have to do this other chore. Um, that can kind of be the little push that some people need. It's also really important to play to people's strengths. There are some things that I despise doing. It doesn't matter how easy it is. It doesn't matter that it only takes me a minute. I hate doing it. And emptying the dishwasher is one of those things. I just can't, I have this aversion to it. I cannot stand it. And I think we all have those things. So divvying up the list, like if kind of like emptying the dishwasher was on my list of things to do, even though that is a seemingly very easy, a very quick task, I won't do it. I just don't like doing it. So asking the others, what do you like? Chances are nobody loves cleaning. Okay, there are some people like that out there. I'm not one of those people, but there are people out there. Like, I enjoy decluttering and tidying and organizing. I don't necessarily like cleaning, but there are people out there who do enjoy it. But if you ask people, what do you not mind doing? Or out of this list, give them some options. These things need to be done. Like, these two things need to be done. Which one would you prefer to do? And again, you're kind of phrasing it in a way that they don't feel like you are just giving them all the work. Like, this is your job, you have to do it. You're saying, which would you prefer to do? Like, of these two things that need to get done, I will give you the control over which one you would prefer to do. And that way it makes them feel like they have control over the situation. It makes them much more likely to take ownership of the situation. You're giving them that choice. So when you are divvying up the chores, think about that. Like, there's some things that I do not mind doing that other people hate doing. I do not mind cleaning bathrooms. I do not mind scrubbing toilets, but I will scrub a toilet before I will empty a dishwasher. And it kind of makes no sense, really. But it's just one of those things. So don't just automatically assume by like divvying up the chores that the other person will do it. So having that incentive, offering those options. And also, then another thing you can do is to, for example, you can say, by doing this, this is the benefit. Coming back to that benefit, if we can get this room cleared out, we could then host the party in our home, or not right now, obviously, but I'm just giving you like a broad, normal world example. Um, if we got this room cleared out, we could host that party here rather than having to go to a restaurant or whatever and pay a lot of money. Um, if we just got this room cleared out and the next week we made some strides, we'd be able to host that party here. We would save ourselves a lot of money, and let's put that money towards a nice holiday. Let's put that money towards a nice trip. Let's put that money towards something that the other person wants. Again, it's that incentive. So you're kind of incentivizing the way, like, if you do this chore, you do not have to do this other thing. Or if we tackle this thing, these are the benefits. Again, these are the benefits that we are going to reap. These are the benefits that you are going to reap from this. And then, like I said, there are so many more strategies. I can't go into all of them in this live stream, but there are lots more that I go into in the course. So I will give you one more, like, worst case scenario strategy. Like, you've tried everything else, nothing else is working. This is the thing that you should do. But if you want to get like all of the other strategies, as well as all of the other decluttering advice in general, the link is in my bio for the course. Like I said, goes live next week. I do want to announce in a minute, those on the wait list do get a special bonus. I'm going to be announcing that in a minute. So if you've kind of been holding off on getting on the wait list, or you're not sure or whatever, you may want to do that. But the final strategy then, and this is like extreme measures, and I will say I personally have never been able to stick to this myself. I have tried it, but you may be more stubborn than I am. I would be surprised because I'm a very stubborn person, but you may be. If things have got very bad, you may have to go on strike. You may have to like down tools and stop working. And this was kind of the thing that I suggested to that lady who left the comment about the housemates who just weren't pulling their weight. She was basically stepping in and doing all the work for them. And I tried to phrase it as nicely as I could, but why would they bring out the bins if they know that she's going to do it? Why would they wash all the dirty dishes if they know that someone else is going to do it? And it's not necessarily always like this conscious thing. It's not always this like premeditated attempt to be lazy and to have you do all the work. But sometimes we're kind of programmed to take shortcuts and take the easy way out. And if you are in a pattern of kind of learned behavior where someone keeps asking you to do it, but then they do it themselves, that's kind of more of a habit that you have got into. Not necessarily, like I said, this conscious attack on the other person, but sometimes we all have those routines where it's just easier to let the other person do it. And this is particularly the case if somebody has asked you to do something and you did it, and then all they've done is give you grief about how you did not do it properly. You did not do it the right way or whatever. So you may have to go on strike. You may have to just stop doing it until they learn that you are not going to do this thing for them anymore. And that's tough. It's very, very tough. Like I said, it is very much a last resort. If you have done everything you think of, if you have tried kind of the exchange, if you have tried the kind of favor, if you have divided up all the chores according to, like, they have picked which chores they would prefer to do, if you've done all of that and all of the other strategies I mentioned in the course, and all else has failed, you may have to kind of throw in the towel for a while. This requires a lot of like grit and determination and digging in your heels. But that may be what you need to do to get them out of that habit of the other person will do this thing for me. If I just sit here and do nothing, they will do it. So good luck with that one. Oh, sorry. It can be tough. It can be very tough, but you may have to dig your heels in at some point if it gets very, very bad. So let me go back through some questions. I'm really gutted that YouTube is not working for me. That's really disappointing. But anyway, um, so those are some strategies that you can get buy-in from other people. Like I said, the whole "can you do X while I do Y" is, I have found that one particularly effective, because then it just feels like a normal exchange of things, like you're each contributing in your own way. Hubble Falls, that makes a lot of sense. Um, let me see. Yeah, just some comments about YouTube. I don't know. I don't know. um, Ellie, does it happen to you that you need to repeat the request the next day? Sometimes, yes. I'm not going to lie. My husband is very much kind of one of these leave it till the last minute sort of people. Like if there's a task that I don't want to do, I try and get it out of the way as quickly as possible so that I can then enjoy the rest of my day. My husband is the opposite. He wants to kind of enjoy his day and not have to think about that task, and then just do it at the end of the day. We just think, like, I cannot understand that way of thinking, but he cannot understand why you would want to go through all that misery first. But I can't understand why you would want that hanging over you all day, because then I can't relax. Like, I can't properly enjoy myself. But my husband can easily switch off and not worry about that thing for the day. So sometimes I do have to repeat, but I find it much better if, like I said, I'm very specific with what I want. And it does help, like with the grocery situation, there's kind of a natural built-in deadline there. Like if you text and you're on the way home from the grocery store and you say, can you clear out the fridge? Like, I'm on the way home, so that I can put this stuff away. Giving them kind of those natural built-in deadlines. Something that I often struggled with initially was asking my husband to do something and just asking him to do something like open-ended. So now I try and say, can you get this done like by the end of the day so that tomorrow I can go straight into some other job? So kind of building in those natural deadlines does help. So yeah, if you give them a deadline and not just like do this today, but like I said, can you do this today so that whatever. And again, like my husband, I have to realize that if I ask him to do something today, it will not be done until the very end of the day. So if I want it done earlier, like if I expect him to, so if I just say to him, can you do something today? Because I think later on when he does that thing, I can then do something else. No, that's not going to work. You have to be kind of specific and built in those natural deadlines. Ellie says she hates that asking for more afterwards. Yeah, I think we've all been in that situation where somebody says, oh, can you help me for a minute? And then a minute turns into an hour and you just become really resentful. And then the next time they ask you to do something, you're like, no, that's not happening. Ellie, do you have the habit of thanking each other and saying how much you appreciate the help? Absolutely. And that is another strategy that I go into in the course, kind of sincere praise. And I talk about kind of different ways that you can do that. It's not just kind of thanking the person, but really making it known how much you appreciate their help and why you appreciate their help. Ellie, or we're sad and have a day that we can't do anything. Absolutely. You have to, like I said, play to people's strengths, but also be mindful kind of the ways in which they're not great. Like my husband, if I ask my husband to do laundry as in wash stuff, he will wash it. If I ask him to iron anything, no, it's not getting done. So yeah, be mindful. Like other people do have things that they're good at, but they also have things that they're not good at or that they particularly despise doing. So being mindful of that. Let me see. I think I'm at the end now, but I just want to flick back and make sure that I haven't missed anything. Again, Bonnie's saying that doesn't work when you live alone. I mean, a lot less to clean when you live alone. I know when Sam goes away for business or something, the house is so much cleaner. I can clean it and then it will stay clean. It's just a miracle to me. Michelle, it's always my turn to take out the trash, always my turn to do the dishes, always my turn to dust and vacuum, always my turn to do the laundry, fold and put away, always my turn to do grocery shopping, because she lives alone. Yeah, but you have a lot less to do. Like when I do those things, I have to kind of do double. There's more people like making dirt that I have to vacuum up. There are more, I have to bring out the trash more regularly because more people are contributing to it. So swings and roundabouts. Ellie, sometimes it's just a matter of skill or ability. If one cooks better or has an injury and cannot do certain ones, absolutely. My husband's a much better cook than I am. A much better cook. So yeah, what they're good at, what they enjoy doing, or what they despise doing the least, shall we say. Um, Sean, what if your housemates are just unreasonable? I hope that's not a reference. Sean and I used to be housemates. Sean will tell you how much of a like clutterbug I used to be, how untidy and unclean I was. I've changed my ways since. But Sean and I used to be housemates, and it was not pretty. He will tell you that my room was a disaster. Yeah, I've mended my ways since. Reformed, clutterbug. Yeah, that's. Bonnie, I'm so excited for the course. It would work for single people, though, right? Absolutely. There is just that one section that if you have to share a space with others, like all of the strategies and stuff that are going to help with that. So yes, there is also a section on if you have a physical illness or a mental illness, something that could potentially impact your energy levels, your concentration levels, your kind of emotions. There is a section on that as well, like how you can proceed and the best way to move forward with stuff like that. So absolutely, definitely can be done. Ellie, if I get the emails, I guess I'm on the list. Yes, you are. If you're getting emails about it, you're on the list. Ellie, the same happens with kids too. Yep, there is a section. So I go through kind of all of the ways that you can get buy-in from other people, and a lot of them, like giving very specific instructions, will also apply to kids. But at the end of that section, I do have things that are specifically for children, and if you want to get kids involved, things that will help with that process. Ellie, if you're getting the emails, yeah, you're definitely, you have confirmed and everything. Yeah. Ellie, it's so hard for me not to tell that it was not done properly, but I know that it would be demotivating for the other person. This is something I did struggle with. And the thing that changed it for me, that changed kind of my perspective, was that even if they had at least kind of done it to a certain standard, that I could then finish off a lot easier. So for example, if I asked my husband to like wipe down the counters, and then I went in and there were like some streaks and, you know, like some missed spots or whatever, I still took it as helpful because it meant that I did not have to start the job from scratch, that all I could do was kind of like spot clean or whatever, just finish the job, get it from like this standard, like my husband's standard, to my standard. So I just had to like bridge that gap rather than starting from like down here all the way up. Let me see. Ellie, do I hear an air conditioner? It's my laptop going crazy here. Bonnie, don't complain about the way they do it. Yeah, it's just not your. I know what, because I've been there, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get it to the stage where like the next time they will do it better, but all you're really doing is ensuring that there will not be a next time. If you're giving very specific instructions, that will help. So the next time you ask them to do it, you can say, you know, can you clean the counters while I do something? And just, I know that spot like in that corner is kind of particularly difficult. This is what I find helps to like reach in there or whatever. Obviously, Falls, what do you do when they have an issue with doing something, like leaving something out for longer than they like, but they can leave things wherever for however long they want, and that's okay? That's a difficult one, and that's going to require a lot of that kind of exchange / favor mentality. Sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand with, like if somebody says to you, you left something out, rather than saying like, oh, but you leave things out all the time, or kind of immediately going on the defensive, which is my natural reaction to everything, let me tell you. But saying like, oh, okay, so from now on, nobody leaves things out. And then it's not that like attack, or it's not trying to justify anything for yourself. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, let's both of us then, this is a rule that both of us are going to abide by. That can really help. What also helped me, my husband, a space that he could clutter up as much as he liked. He now has like his own home office. We used to share a home office. He now has his own, thankfully, now that we live in a bigger house. And I have told him that is his space to do with what he will, whatever he wants. I don't care how messy that, I mean, I care, but that room is messy and cluttered and whatever, but it's his space and I don't encroach on that. And then there are other things where I have laid down very specific ground rules about, like, you need to choose your battles. You need to know that there's always going to be some friction, but choose the thing that is most important to you, like hygiene, for example, and just make it very clear that this particular thing is off limits, like unacceptable, cannot do it, like this thing. And then you need to be strict with that one thing. And with that, the understanding has to be that you're going to let a lot of other stuff slide. Choosing your battles like this. And I've told this story before, but when we shared a home office, our desks were right next to each other. So they looked kind of like one desk. But because I didn't really use mine all that often, and because mine was tidy and neat and my husband's was cluttered, he would often leave things on my desk. And that was the thing that annoyed me the most, because anytime I used to go into the space, I would first have to clear, I had to overcome in order for me to do my work. Which at the time was very important to me because I needed that outlet for myself. You know, when Scout was younger, and you'll know this, like I suffered from postnatal depression and I needed a space that was just for me. So that was my thing. And I made it very clear to him, anything that lands on my desk from now on is mine and I would get rid of it. Like, I just made it very, very clear. And again, why it was so important to me, like, this is my space and I really, for my mental health, I really need to protect this thing. So yeah, being very clear about what is off limits, giving them their own space that they can do it, like choosing your battles. And then if they say something that they also do, saying, okay, new rule, nobody does it. Hope that helps. Ballerino, that's me. I'm terrible for putting things off. My partner's the opposite. He just gets things done. Yeah, and we each, like, I can't understand that mentality, but on the flip side, he can't understand mine. So it's not about, saying like, why wouldn't you do it that way? Like, why wouldn't you get it done first? That's we just have different ways of doing things, and neither is like right, neither is wrong. It's just different ways of doing things. Just because you can't understand why someone would do something doesn't mean that there isn't like value or some benefit to it being done that way, or for them to do it that way. Bonnie, it's about using can, say, will instead. Yes. Avoid using can, say, will instead. Yeah, can you do this while I do this, rather than just, can you do this? So it's the exchange. Helps Falls, yeah, would you versus could you is another one I've heard of, Bonnie. Yeah. You have to be, like I said, very specific about the way that you phrase things and very specific about when you want it done. Like, what is the deadline for it? Otherwise, it's, and the whole can thing, like, can you do that? Like, yes, I can. Like, I am capable of doing that. Will I do it? Is another whole issue entirely. Ellie, I don't iron anymore. I hear you. Yeah, my husband is just not in his DNA. There's Sean laughing because he knows. He knows. Sean saying he was the same. Look, I think we were all, when we were like teenagers and you like early 20s or whatever. It's just, this is not the best time in our lives in terms of like, cleanliness and stuff. Knowing disabilities. Yeah, there is that section in the course. Because like I said, this all stemmed for me out of suffering from postnatal depression. So there were a lot of strategies that I learned along the way, and there were other kind of struggles I had. There were sometimes I decluttered stuff when I was grieving from the loss of somebody. I also live with chronic pain, so a lot of them are strategies that I have adopted over the years that have helped me. I can't obviously, like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor or anything, but just the strategies that have helped me, the things that I think will help others. Michelle says some days she truly is just surviving. We all are. I'm always kind of, I regularly get comments along the lines of, some days I feel great and I can do loads, and then other days I can't do anything. And like, what's wrong with me? Nothing. We all have those days. We all have like one day a week where we're like good to go and we get loads done, and then the rest of the week is a washout. Never ever feel that because you have off days that there is something wrong with you. We are all on that roller coaster of like, one day you can take on the world and the next day, like, getting out of bed is like the biggest chore. So never feel that just because you have a down day, a down week, a down month, that there is something wrong. Everyone goes through those phases. Obviously, for some of us, if you do have like health issues that are impacting that, getting support and help from others will really help. But that is having days where you're just not at your most productive. That's all part of the human experience. Obviously, Falls, if you finish after them, does that make them feel like their job wasn't good enough? I had a boyfriend, I think, would have felt that way. No. I know I would certainly feel, if all of my jobs took longer than my husband's, I would start to feel resentful. But if all mine finished up before my husband's, I would not think, oh, I got all the easy things and now I feel bad. Nope. Like I said, it's that division. Like the dishwasher thing for me, like it literally takes 2 minutes, not even, to empty the dishwasher, but I just despise doing it. So just because somebody finishes something sooner doesn't necessarily mean that they got the better end of that bargain. Some jobs take longer but are easier, and some jobs don't take as long, but like for the short time that you're doing it, it's grueling. So I wouldn't necessarily think of it in terms of that. Let me see. Little red-haired girl, what a cool name. My husband eventually cleaned up his clutter space and asked for my help when he saw how much I was enjoying my clean, clear space. Yeah, I cannot promise you that somebody else will follow along, but I know from my own experience and I know from anecdotal evidence that generally at some point in the process, at some point down the road, the other person usually, not always, not making any promises, but usually will start to make some effort. It probably will not be on your level or not to the standard that you would like. But I know that after a while of doing the KonMari method, my husband started clearing out some of his clothes. So that's Ellie's saying that Instagram's freezing up on me, my internet. I think it's because I'm upstairs. I come upstairs to get the peace and quiet, but I may have to do these downstairs. Okay, so I am gonna go. I'll leave it at that. I hope these strategies were helpful for you. I'm sorry that YouTube is not working. I don't know why it's not working, but I hope this was helpful. Oh, the announcement. Oh, I nearly forgot it. Okay, so those of you who are on the way, so the course is launching next week. It is launching kind of to the general public, shall we say, on the 19th, which is next Tuesday. If you're on the wait list, you will get access on Monday. The doors will open for you a full day early. You will get your discount. You will also, only if you were on the wait list, get a bonus, which is, I also have another course that I have been working on and that I will continue to work on, and that is a cleaning course. So after you have done your decluttering, you can go on and find really simple, easy strategies for keeping your home clean. There's a big difference between like decluttering your home and cleaning your home. So the cleaning course, you are going to get completely free access to that cleaning course. You will get login details. If you purchase the course within the first 48 hours, if you're on the wait list, you purchase within the first 48 hours, which is when you're also going to be getting your discount. But if you're on that wait list, you will also then get a follow-up email that will include sign-in details for the cleaning course. Like I've said, I have already started working on it. There is a huge amount of content already there, but it will be built out a lot more. So it's just gonna, but you will have free access to it forever. All of the updates, all of the improvements that I make. So you're basically getting 2 courses for the price of 1, and you're getting that 1 course at a discount as well. So yeah, that's it. If you're kind of like, because I know after decluttering, a lot of people then want simple strategies, like you've decluttered, but you still have to keep things clean. But you're going to want strategies for how you can have a really simple cleaning routine, because this is all about basically helping you save time so that you can focus on other things in your life and put yourself first for a change. That's what that is about. So I hope that is really helpful. I was trying to like rack my brains and think of what would be a really useful add-on. And then I was kind of like, wait, I'm working on this other course. Why don't I just kind of throw that in? So there you go. 2 courses for the price of 1, and the one that you are buying is going to be significantly discounted as well. So I hope that was helpful. I hope your Holiday Falls is super excited. She's on the wait list. Yeah. So that is going to be, yeah, that's going to be a bonus. Ellie, that is not just an add-on. No, it's not just an add-on. It's a whole other course that you are getting for free. Like I said, it is not completely, I have it built out to a like certain level. But that is something that I'm going to be working on. Like, it's something that I was going to be launching potentially next year. I was supposed to launch it this year, and then with like, because I was thinking like spring cleaning and all that sort of stuff. And then like the decluttering course kind of took over. So I was going to push the other one back to next spring. But I'd already done a huge amount of work on it, and I figured, why not? Why not give you the course for free so that you can go straight from your decluttering journey straight into like the easy strategies for keeping your home clean and tidy and organized and decluttered. Love to you all. I hope you have a great week. I'm going to be flat out working on this decluttering course, getting it finished, making it the best that it can possibly be for you. You will continue to see some emails from me throughout this week. So look out for those. Pray for me. I will not be getting much sleep this week, but just adrenaline is going to keep me going. Ellie, congratulations on 80,000. Thank you so much. Big, ginormous number that I can't fathom. And next up is going to be 100,000. Oh, crazy. Okay, thanks so much for being here, everyone. I hope you all have a great week. I will speak to you all very, very soon. Goodbye.